What's happening at Ferrari? Lewis Hamilton has issued a warning. A lot will change ahead of the Chinese Grand Prix. Will this be the turning point the team needs to get back in the fight? Do you think Ferrari will be able to compete against Red Bull and McLaren this season? Ferrari has entered the 2025 season with a completely revamped philosophy for its single-seater. Although at first glance the SF-25 may appear to be an evolution of the previous model, the truth is that the team has made fundamental changes to its design, particularly in its aerodynamics and suspension. One of the most significant changes is the adoption of a pull-rod front suspension, replacing the pushrod system used in previous seasons. This setup is similar to what teams like Red Bull and McLaren have implemented, but Ferrari has decided to follow its own approach, combining it with a pull-rod rear suspension. The main objective of this modification is to improve aerodynamic efficiency and allow the car to operate at a lower height, generating greater downforce in high-speed corners. The concept behind this suspension is not new. Red Bull has demonstrated in recent years that a pull-rod system can provide better airflow control and allow for improved balance in fast corners. Ferrari has taken this idea and adapted it to its own design, seeking to improve one of the SF-24's main weaknesses, a lack of stability on circuits with long, high-speed corners. Beyond the suspension, another key change to the SF-25 is the reconfiguration of the wheelbase. Ferrari has modified the chassis layout, increasing the space between the front wheels and the cockpit. This adjustment has allowed the side pods to be repositioned, now starting further back in relation to the front wheels. This has a direct impact on aerodynamics, as it reduces the air disturbance generated by the front wheels, allowing for cleaner airflow to the side pods and the floor of the car. The design of the side pods has also been completely revised. Ferrari has implemented semi-elliptical air intakes, optimizing engine cooling without compromising aerodynamic efficiency. It has also incorporated an upper overwing that generates vortices designed to improve the stability of the airflow over the side pods and toward the rear of the car. These types of innovations seek to maximize aerodynamic performance without increasing drag, which is essential on circuits with long straights like Shanghai. One of the most interesting aspects of this development is that Ferrari has prioritized flexibility in the car's setup. Unlike previous seasons where the single-seater concept was limited in adapting to different circuits, the SF-25 has been designed with a modular approach, allowing for more precise aerodynamic adjustments. This means Ferrari could implement different downforce configurations depending on the track type, giving it a strategic advantage throughout the season. However, these modifications have not been without challenges. During pre-season testing, Ferrari experienced issues with the behavior of the new front suspension. Drivers reported that the car had unpredictable reactions in certain conditions, affecting driving confidence. This is a critical issue, as in Formula 1, driver confidence in the car's handling is key to maximizing its performance. Another aspect that has generated uncertainty is how these modifications will affect tire wear. In previous seasons, Ferrari has suffered from issues with rear tires overheating during long races. With the new SF-25 design, the team hopes to improve tire thermal management, but it is still unclear whether the pull-rod suspension will be able to provide the necessary stability to prevent uneven wear on certain circuits. Despite these challenges, the Maranello technical team has shown confidence that the SF-25 has untapped potential. The question now is whether Ferrari will be able to find the right balance before the Chinese Grand Prix, or if they will need more time to optimize the car's performance. In the upcoming races, each practice session will be crucial to understand how far they can take the car's development. The 2025 season began with high expectations for Ferrari. After finishing the 2024 Constructors' Championship just 14 points behind McLaren, the Italian team arrived with the ambition of regaining its place at the top of Formula 1. With a revamped lineup and the addition of Lewis Hamilton, Ferrari seemed ideally positioned to challenge Red Bull and McLaren. However, the first Grand Prix have shown that the reality is much more complex than anticipated. The SF-25's debut in Bahrain made it clear that the car was not yet at its optimal point. During pre-season testing, both Charles Leclerc and Hamilton reported issues with the car's stability, particularly on the entry and exit of medium and high-speed corners. The new pull-rod front suspension, one of the SF-25's key innovations, did not offer the expected response in all track conditions. Although Ferrari's intention was to improve the car's overall aerodynamics, fine-tuning this new geometry proved more complex than anticipated. One of the biggest problems detected was the car's inconsistency in balance. During practice sessions in Bahrain and Australia, Ferrari engineers observed that the SF-25 behaved unpredictably in certain types of corners, especially those requiring rapid changes of direction. Compared to the SF-24, which had a more stable base but limited aerodynamic management, the new car seemed to exhibit more variability in performance depending on the configuration used. The Australian Grand Prix confirmed these difficulties. Ferrari arrived in Melbourne expecting an improvement in performance, but the race exposed several weaknesses of the SF-25. One of the most worrying aspects was the car's difficulty generating tire temperature in cold or wet conditions. During the first part of the race, when the track was cooler due to intermittent drizzle, the Ferrari struggled to achieve adequate grip, losing valuable seconds per lap to their main rivals. Strategy also played a decisive role in the race's outcome. Ferrari lagged behind in making key decisions, particularly in switching to intermediate tires when the track began to get wet. While McLaren and Red Bull made quick decisions that allowed them to minimize lost track time, Ferrari was slow to react. Lewis Hamilton, who was in a favorable position to score important points, ended up dropping to 10th place due to a late pit stop. One of the most talked about moments of the Australian Grand Prix was the communication between Hamilton and his new race engineer, Riccardo Adami. During the race, the British driver expressed his frustration on several occasions, requesting less information over the radio and noting that some messages were repetitive or unhelpful in managing his race pace. This situation reflected that Ferrari is still undergoing an internal adaptation process to accommodate Hamilton's working style, a driver accustomed to more precise and structured communication after so many years at Mercedes. The problems in Australia were not isolated. In post-race meetings, the team identified that the SF-25 generated more aerodynamic drag than expected on circuits with long straights. This became a notable disadvantage compared to teams like Red Bull and McLaren, which achieved higher top speed without compromising cornering grip. Ferrari designed its car with the aim of finding a balance between aerodynamic efficiency and stability, but in the first races of the season, this philosophy has not yielded the expected results. The lack of race pace has also been a worrying factor. While Ferrari showed glimpses of competitiveness in qualifying, with Leclerc and Hamilton achieving respectable times in Q3, its long-run performance has been inconsistent. Under race conditions, tire wear remains an issue at certain tracks, and the team has yet to find an optimal setup to maintain consistent pace without compromising tire consumption. The data gathered from the first two races has led Ferrari to rethink certain aspects of the SF-25. The technical team in Maranello has worked intensively to find solutions to the issues identified, particularly in adapting the front suspension and reducing aerodynamic drag. However, the main challenge is achieving these adjustments without compromising the car's long-term development. The start to the season has been more difficult than Ferrari expected, but there is still room for improvement. The Chinese Grand Prix will be a crucial test to assess whether the changes implemented have paid off or if Ferrari will need more time to unlock the SF-25's true potential. Despite Ferrari's difficult start to the season, Lewis Hamilton remains confident that the SF-25 has significant room for improvement. In his comments ahead of the Chinese Grand Prix, the seven-time world champion made it clear that the team is working intensively on solutions that could mark a turning point in the season. In his own words, "A lot of things will change," a statement that has sparked interest and speculation surrounding the updates and strategic adjustments Ferrari plans to implement in Shanghai. Hamilton's optimism is no coincidence. During the technical meetings following Australia, the team identified several areas where the SF-25 could improve without requiring a complete redesign of the car. One of the main focuses has been the pull rod front suspension setup, which has so far generated inconsistent responses in medium and high-speed corners. Ferrari engineers have been working on geometry and setup adjustments to improve the car's stability and provide the drivers with a more predictable feel for the car's handling. Another key aspect of preparation for China has been reducing aerodynamic drag on the straight line. At circuits like Melbourne, the SF-25 showed a lack of top speed compared to Red Bull and McLaren, which complicated overtaking and defensive opportunities in the race. Ferrari has worked on aerodynamic solutions to improve airflow efficiency, including adjustments to the wings and modifications to the side pods to optimize stability without compromising performance in fast corners. In addition to technical improvements, internal team communication has been a focus. The relationship between Hamilton and his new race engineer, Riccardo Adami, is still in the adjustment phase. In Australia, the lack of synchronization in radio messages led to frustrating moments, something Ferrari wants to correct as soon as possible. In Maranello, they have reviewed communication protocols and worked on fine-tuning the strategy to provide Hamilton with the right information at the right time. A driver of his caliber needs an efficient structure in this regard, and Ferrari is making adjustments to ensure the relationship with Adami flows more naturally. The Chinese Grand Prix represents a great opportunity for Ferrari for several reasons. The Shanghai circuit is known for its combination of long straights and high-speed corners, which will test the SF-25's aerodynamic efficiency. If Ferrari has managed to reduce drag without sacrificing cornering grip, they could be in a more competitive position to fight for the top spots. Another factor in the team's favor is Hamilton's experience at this circuit. With multiple wins in Shanghai throughout his career, the Briton knows every detail of the layout and knows how to make the most of the track conditions. His ability to manage tire wear and adjust his driving style to the car's characteristics could be key to achieving a positive result. Race strategy will also play a key role. Ferrari has analyzed the mistakes made in Australia and is adjusting its decision-making procedures to prevent indecision in the pits from costing them positions again. The team has worked on simulations of different race scenarios to optimize the pit stop window and choose the appropriate tire compounds based on the track's evolution. Weather conditions in China could be another determining factor. In the past, this Grand Prix has seen races with intermittent rain and variable temperatures, which could affect the tire's thermal management. Ferrari is developing different configurations to adapt to different weather conditions and maximize performance in any condition. Beyond the immediate strategy, the team is also evaluating the long-term development of the SF-25. At some point during the season, Ferrari will have to decide whether to continue investing resources in improving the current car or shift some of its attention to the 2026 project, when Formula One will undergo a significant change in the technical regulations. Performance at upcoming races, including China, will be decisive in making this decision. Hamilton's optimism reflects confidence not only in the car, but also in the work being done within the team. Ferrari has shown in the past that it is capable of reacting and improving over the course of a season, and the SF-25 has a foundation with potential to evolve. The key will be finding the right balance between technical modifications and optimizing race strategy. The Chinese Grand Prix will be a crucial test to measure whether Ferrari has managed to overcome its initial problems or if it will need more time to reach its full performance level. Hamilton has made it clear he expects major changes, and the question now is whether those adjustments will be enough to return Ferrari to the fight for victories. The Chinese Grand Prix represents a key moment in Ferrari's season and in Lewis Hamilton's adaptation to his new team. The first races have shown that the SF-25 is a car with great potential, but it still requires significant adjustments to reach the level of its main rivals. The team has been working on technical solutions to improve the car's stability, optimize its straight-line performance, and correct deficiencies in tire management. Beyond the modifications to the car, there is also an internal evolution at Ferrari. The dynamic between Hamilton and his engineering team is still being fine-tuned, and in-race communication will be key to avoiding strategic errors like those that occurred in Australia. The team's ability to respond under high-pressure situations will determine whether Ferrari can make the most of its car in Shanghai and regain ground in the championship fight. The Chinese Grand Prix will also serve as a test of the leadership of Frédéric Vasseur and his technical team. The decision to switch to a pull rod suspension and redesign the aerodynamics was risky, but Ferrari is confident that, given time and proper adjustments, the SF-25 can become a serious contender. What happens at this race will be a sign of whether the team is on the right track or whether it will need to reconsider its development approach for the remainder of the year. The upcoming races will be decisive for Ferrari's immediate future. If the SF-25 setup adjustments work, the team could return to contention at the top of the grid. If the problems persist, the development approach could shift to prioritize preparations for 2026. The season is still long and Ferrari has room for improvement. Hamilton's experience on technical circuits like Shanghai and his ability to maximize the performance of any car will be factors to consider. The big question is whether the SF-25 will be ready to give Ferrari the tools it needs to fight for the top spots. Performance in China will give a clear idea of where Ferrari is headed this season. The team has made adjustments, Hamilton is confident, and the fans are expecting responses on the track. Now it remains to be seen whether these changes will really make a difference or if Ferrari will continue to search for solutions in the following races. If you want to closely follow Ferrari's evolution and the key points of this season, don't forget to subscribe and activate notifications. The fight in Formula One is just beginning, and the upcoming races could define many of the factors that will shape the future of the championship.